I kicked my sister square in the ribs right there in the Honolulu airport, the kind of cheap shot that echoes like a gunshot in a crowded room. She crumpled against the plate glass window, gasping like I'd stolen her last breath. And for a split second, the whole terminal froze, families mid-hug. Harried dads with screaming toddlers, even the TSA guy with his coffee paused to gawk.
Autumn.
You bitch, Willow wheezed, clutching her side. Her perfectly manicured nails digging into that designer scarf she always wore like armor. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. Not after what she'd buried under years of fake smiles and Christmas cards. It wasn't just the kick that broke us. It was the lie she'd force-fed me since we were kids in that rainy Tacoma trailer park. The one where I took the fall for her sins so she could play the golden girl. And now, on this godforsaken holiday eve, with palm trees whipping in the trade winds outside, I was done being her shadow. The cops swarmed us before the echoes faded, zip-tying my wrists while Willow sobbed theatrics to the crowd, painting me as the unhinged little sister who'd finally snapped. Chaos? Yeah. It ensued. All right, flashing lights.
Viralvideos.
And a family secret clawing its way out like a bad hangover on Black Friday. But let's rewind, because that kick, it was the cherry on a shit sundae of betrayal that started brewing back when we were broke-ass teens scraping by on mom's diner tips and dad's ghost of a paycheck from the Boeing plant. Willow was always the pretty one, the charmer who could talk her way out of a parking ticket or into the quarterback's pants.
Me, Autumn.
The awkward tag-along with the thrift store jeans and a chip on my shoulder the size of Mount Rainier. We were thick as thieves until the night of the mill fire. The one that torched half the waterfront and left 3 guys from the crew with lungs full of smoke and grudges that never healed. I was 16. Willow 19. And we'd snuck into the old lumber yard for kicks. Stupid kid shit. Lighting matches to see who could make the biggest flare. But Willow...
Oh.
She escalated it, flicking her Zippo into a puddle of spilled turpentine like it was no big deal, laughing as the flames licked up the pallets. Watch this. Aughts, fireworks for the 4th. Early edition. I froze, the heat blasting my face. But she grabbed my arm, eyes wild. You tell anyone, and we're both done. Mom can't lose us both.
So I didn't.
When the cops came sniffing, I confessed to the whole dumbass arson. Stammered through the juvenile hearing with a public defender who smelled like stale smokes and regret. Willow? She cried pretty tears at my sentencing. Promised to visit every weekend at juvie. Then ghosted me for college apps and sorority rushes at UW. 6 months in lockup, counting cracks in the concrete like they were stars. And I learned quick, betrayal tastes like rust and regret. Out on probation by 17, I clawed my way into community college, slinging lattes at a Pike Place knockoff while Willow posted Insta-perfect shots from Seattle's party scene, frat boys, rooftop bars, that fake-ass glow of someone who's never had to apologize. We drifted. Sure. But blood's blood. Or so Mom drilled into us with her hallmark platitudes over turkey tetrazzini. Family sticks. Girls. Through the fire. Irony.
Much.
Fast forward a decade. I'm 30 now. Piecing together a life in Portland's Pearl District. Graphic design gigs for craft breweries that pay the rent on my shoebox loft but leave me scrolling Zillow at 2 a.m., dreaming of escape. Willow's the queen bee in San Francisco, married to some tech bro named Chad. Yeah, Chad, who's got venture capital dripping from his beard. They fly first class to Napa weekends, post about manifesting abundance, while I'm manifesting a decent night's sleep without the neighbor's EDM thumping through the walls. But here's the kicker. Last summer, Chad's startup tanks. And Willow comes crawling back. Not for sisterly vibes, but for a bailout. Aughts. You're good with numbers.
Right? Just.
Fudge a few entries on the family trust. Mom's estate's sitting there, untouched since Dad's stroke. The family trust, huh? More like the scraps Mom left after her cancer ate her alive 5 years back. A modest pot from Dad's pension and her life insurance, earmarked for our girls' futures. I'd squirreled my half away for emergencies, but Willow? She'd blown through hers on Botox and Birkins years ago. Now she wanted mine.
2.
It's not stealing, she cooed over FaceTime, her Botox smile not twitching an inch. It's reallocating. Chad's got this pitch, AI for sustainable fishing or whatever, and we just need a bridge loan. You'll get it back triple. I said no. Flat out.
Fuck no.
But Willow doesn't do no, she does schemes. 2 weeks later, the IRS knocks. Audit letters. Frozen accounts. Accusations of tax evasion on unreported income from the trust. My trust. Turns out, Willow'd hacked my login, sisterly love, remember, and rerouted funds through shell accounts that screamed fraud. She pinned it on me. Of course, the troubled one with the juvie record. The easy mark. Chad's lawyer spun it gold. I got slapped with felony charges, house arrest, and a plea deal that gutted my savings. Willow sent flowers to the courthouse. So sorry.
Odds.
Must be a glitch. We'll fight this together. Together my ass. She was already on a jet to Cabo, toasting new beginnings with piña coladas. That's when the revenge itch started. Not some cartoon villain cackle, but a slow burn in my gut, like bad whiskey on an empty stomach. I lawyered up on the cheap, clawed back enough to drop the charges, barely, but the damage stuck. Credit trashed, job offers dried up, and trust? That's a joke. Portland started feeling like a cage. All hipster facades hiding the grind. So when Black Friday hit, I booked the ticket, Hawaii.
Christmas solo.
No family drama. No eggnog toast with phonies. Just me, a Mai Tai, and the kind of anonymity you only get under swaying palms and relentless sun. Waikiki. Here I come, fuck the mainland chill. Willow found out. Naturally. Sisters share blood. But in the age of algorithms, they share everything. A passive-aggressive text. Hawaii? Alone? Mom would hate that. Come to Tahoe with us. Chad's got the chalet. I ignored it. Then calls. Autumn.
Please.
It's Christmas. Family time. By the time I was wheels up from PDX, she'd escalated to voicemails laced with guilt trips about abandoning the ones who love you.
Love. Right.
The kind that lands you in cuffs. Landed in Honolulu at dusk. Jet-lagged and buzzing on airport adrenaline. The humid air slapping me like a wet towel. Tiki torches flickered along Kalakaua Avenue as I dragged my roller to the shuttle. Visions of beach reads and zero notifications dancing in my head. But there she was. Willow. Planted like a palm tree in the arrivals hall. Chad fidgeting beside her in his Patagonia vest. Looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Surprise, she beamed. Arms wide for a hug, I dodged like the plague. Weary routed. Thought you'd need backup after. Everything. Backup? Or blockade? We piled into a rental Escalade, Chad driving. Silent as a stone. Willow chattering about holiday markets and luau reservations she'd booked for us. I bit my tongue till it bled, staring out at the neon blur of Waikiki. The ocean a black mirror under sodium lights. By the time we hit the resort, a sprawling beast of marble and orchids called the Royal Aloha. The itch was a full blaze. Check-in was a farce. Willow sweet-talking the clerk into adjoining suites. Family's everything, right? I bolted to my balcony, slamming the slider. But she followed, wine glass in hand. The Pacific sighing below like it knew the storm coming.
Autumn.
Talk to me, she said, perching on the lounger like we were sorority sisters swapping secrets. I know you're pissed about the trust thing. But it was a mistake. Chad's accountant screwed up.
Lies.
All of it. But her eyes, they flickered. That old tell from the lumberyard days. When she'd swear on Mom's Bible she hadn't touched my diary. I sipped the complimentary plumeria tea. Bitter as bile. Mistake? You framed me, Willow, for your husband's Ponzi wet dream. She laughed, light and tinkling, like wind chimes in a serial killer's yard. Framed? Dramatic much? It was survival. You get that, you covered for me back then. Remember? The fire? We all make choices. Choices.
Yeah.
Mine was always the sacrificial lamb special. I stood, the railing cool under my palms, contemplating a dive into the void. That fire cost me everything, friends. Future. Freedom. And you got the white picket, the TED Talk life. Now you want to drag me back under? Chad poked his head out then. Tie loosened, eyes darting like a ferret. Ladies, let's not ruin the vibe. Dinner's on me, steakhouse down the beach. Willow shot him a look that could curdle milk, and he vanished. That's when she flipped. You think you're the victim here? I built this for us, for Mom's legacy. Your design gigs are cute, but real money? That's power. You could have joined.
But no.
Miss Independent had to play martyr. The words hung, toxic as exhaust. And I saw it then, the scheme unspooling. The surprise visit wasn't love, it was leverage. Willow'd been digging, calling my PO from the old arson days, whispering about relapse risks if I didn't sign over what was left of the trust scraps. Probation forever. That's the gift she wanted under the tree. Sign the papers tomorrow, she pressed. Voice honey over razor wire. And we forget Hawaii ever happened.
Or.
I make that call. My blood turned to lava. I grabbed her wrist harder than I meant, and she yanked back, spilling wine like blood on the tile. Get out, I snarled. She didn't. That's how we ended up at the airport the next morning. Christmas Eve. Me bolting for a red-eye home, because fuck this island trap. Willow tailing like a bad debt collector. Chad stayed behind, holding the fort, which meant nursing his hangover in the spa. Security line was a zoo, screaming kids in elf hats. Lay-wrapped grandparents shuffling through scanners, but Willow wedged in front, blocking the gate like a human barricade. You're not leaving, Autumn. Not like this. Sign first. Her voice pitched low.
Urgent.
Eyes scanning for witnesses. I laughed, bitter and sharp. Or what? You'll light another match. The crowd murmured, sensing drama like sharks to chum. She lunged then, grabbing my boarding pass, crumpling it in her fist. Family doesn't quit. Something snapped, maybe the paper, maybe me, and my boot connected with her knee, buckling her like cheap origami. She went down howling. Help! She's attacking me. Phones whipped out. Flashes popping. The terminal a circus of holiday horror. Cops materialized from the ether. Badges glinting under fluorescence. And just like that, I was cuffed again. Willow playing the damsel with Oscar-worthy sobs. She hates me, always has. It's the money, the fire, everything. As they hauled me to holding, past the twinkling Christmas tree strung with airline miles garland, I caught her eye, triumph veiled as terror. But here's the thing, in that fluorescent hell of the security office, while some bored sergeant typed up my Miranda rights, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Knew you'd crack. Check the cloud drive, your copy of the emails. Willow's not the only one with secrets. Attached, PDFs, timestamps from last summer. Willow's emails to Chad's accountant, not some flub, but a deliberate wire to offshore accounts. And buried deeper, a scan of the old arson report. My juvie confession crossed out. Willow's signature forged on the real perp line. She'd planned the fire cover from day one, trading my freedom for her scholarship recs. The twist? It wasn't just betrayal, it was inception. Willow hadn't found out about Hawaii. She'd hacked my emails months back, planted the trip as bait to lure me here, staged the family reconciliation for the plea leverage. But the real gut punch, Mom's will, tucked in the drives folder. Not scraps, but a codicil I'd never seen, half the trust to me, the other to Willow, with a clause, to the daughter who protects the other. Without expectation, Mom knew about the fire, the cover. She'd shielded me by silence, betting on blood to win out. Willow'd forged the distribution.
2.
Skimming for years. Released on a psych eval technicality. Domestic dispute. No priors in 5. The cop shrugged. I didn't go home. I went back to the Royal Aloha. Chad alone in the bar. 3 sheets to the wind. Willow's. Delayed, I said, sliding onto the stool. He blinked, slurring.
Odds.
Thought you. I cut him off with the phone. PDFs glowing like neon accusations. Your wife's a thief. And a liar. But hey, divorce papers make great stocking stuffers. He crumpled, not fighting, just nodding like a man who'd known all along. Willow showed at dawn, disheveled in yesterday's clothes. The fight drained out.
Autumn. Please.
Cops said you'd. I held up the printouts. The will's seal stark black on white. Mom knew.
Will.
And you? You knew I'd take the hit. Again. She sank to the sand, waves lapping like judgment. And for the first time, tears weren't performative. I was scared. Of failing. Of being you, the fighter, not the winner. We sat there, sisters in the salt air, as the sun cracked the horizon. I could have called the cops, watched her empire crumble like the mill's ashes. Instead, I tore the papers, let the wind take them. Merry Christmas,
sis.
Next time, light your own damn fire. But revenge? It's never clean. Chad filed by New Year's, citing irreconcilable fraud, and Willow's left scraping Bay Area rentals. Her glow dimmed to flicker.
Me?
Back in Portland. Trust restored, legally, financially, but the scar? It's Hawaiian ink. A small flame tattoo on my ankle. Reminder that forgiveness is just deferred payback. Was I right to kick?
To spare?
Readers, you tell me, because in the end, family's the ultimate controversy, love wrapped in barbed wire. And nobody walks away unscathed. The flight home was a red-eye purgatory. The kind where economy seats feel like medieval stocks and the guy next to you snores like a freight train derailing. I nursed a thimble of bourbon, staring at the in-flight map dotting across the Pacific. That kick replaying in 4K slow-mo. Willow's gasp. The crumple. The crowd's gasp turning to murmurs of "white girl gone wild" under their breaths. By morning, it'd be trending. Airport brawl Christmas or some bullshit hashtag. With me as the villain in thrift flannels versus Willow's Lululemon armor. But as the mainland loomed, fog-shrouded and indifferent, I felt
Light.
not free. Exactly. Revenge is a half-swallowed pill, but unburdened. Like I'd finally coughed up the hook that's been lodged in my throat since the lumberyard. Portland greeted me with its usual gray drizzle. The kind that seeps into your bones and makes you question every life choice. My loft smelled like stale takeout and unwashed regret. The balcony view of the Willamette a murky swirl under sodium lamps. I crashed hard, dreaming of flames, not the destructive kind, but bonfires on Waikiki beaches. Laughter echoing without the undercurrent of lies. Woke to a dozen missed calls. Willow. Chad blocked. Even Aunt Rita from Tacoma. Her voicemail a slurry of "what in God's name?" Autumn? Your sister's beside herself. Beside herself with what, rage? Relief? I deleted it all. Brewed coffee black as my mood, and fired up the laptop. The cloud drive was still there. A Pandora's USB of digital dirt. I dove deeper. Beyond the emails and wolf forgery. Folders nested like Russian dolls. Insurance claims from the fire year. Willow's college transcripts padded with community service credits that matched my juvie stint dates. She'd mined my sacrifice for her resume. Spun my caged time into her halo. Then, the real venom. Voicemails ripped from Mom's old phone. Synced before she passed. Willow's voice. Post-fire. Mom. Otts took the blame, said it was her idea. We good. Mom's pause. Heavy as lead. Willow Renee. Lies buried deeper than truth. Fix this, or it'll eat you.
Click.
Mom knew. All right, not just suspected, but confronted. And Willow, she'd doubled down, forging ahead on my broken back. My fingers itched for the keyboard, a tell-all post on some Substack revenge porn site.
But nah.
That's too easy. Too public. Willow thrives on spectacle.
No.
This needed precision. The slow drip kind that corrodes from within. I started small. Anonymous tips to Chad's VC buddies. Screenshots redacted just enough to imply, without accusing. Heard the wife's got sticky fingers. Check the ledgers. By noon. Replies pinged. WTF. Autumn? This true. From a burner account. Of course. Deniabilities, my new middle name. Afternoon brought the psych eval follow-up, Hawaiian courtesy. They called it, but really just CYA for the resort's lawyers. Zoom with a shrink named DR. Hail. All soothing tones and coastal drawl, even from his Maui office. Assault's a big step. S. Whitaker. What triggered it?
Triggered.
Like I'm a Glock with a hairpin. I leaned into the lens, unflinching. Years of being the family dumpster fire. Sister lights the match. I take the burn. He nodded. Scribbling, probably delusional sibling rivalry, but I saw the hook set. Sounds like unresolved trauma. Ever consider mediation? Mediation. With Willow, I'd sooner mediate with a great white. But I played along. Booked a session for show, knowing it'd buy time. Evening fell like a curtain, and I hit the streets, Powell's city of books first, losing myself in the stacks of noir paperbacks, Hammett and Highsmith whispering plots of payback. Then a dive bar on Burnside. The The kind with peanut shells and regulars who call you Han, without the creep factor. 2 IPAs in. A booth confessional to a stranger named Mick, tattooed ex-con. Mill worker scars on his knuckles. Kicked my bro once, he grunted. Lime in his Corona foaming. Over a truck he totaled on my dime. Worth it? Hell yeah, cleared the air.
Air.
Mine was still smoke-filled. But his words stuck. Sometimes the kick's the catalyst, not the crime. Back home. Willow's email waited. Subject: we need to talk for mom. Attachments: therapy links. A scanned photo of us kids in mom's kitchen. Flour dusted from gingerbread fails.
Uts.
I overreacted. The trip was supposed to heal us.
Not. This.
Come to SF next weekend? Chad's out of town, girl time. Girl time. Like we're back in the trailer. Braiding hair and dreaming of boyfriends who don't bail. I hovered over reply. Thumbs trembling. Then typed. Healed? You mean controlled. Drive's got your number.
Will.
All of it.
Send.
The whoosh felt like exhaling a decade's worth of ash. Sleep came fitful, riddled with what-ifs. What if I'd let the fire consume her that night? What if mom's codicil was a test? And I failed by forgiving? Dawn broke piss yellow. And my phone lit up, Chad. Unblocked by accident. Divorce is on. She confessed everything. The trust. The fire hack. Said it was protecting you from the fallout. Bullshit. Right? Protecting. The word twisted like a knife in butter. I met him for coffee at a neutral Starbucks in Burlingame. Him in rumpled button-down. Me in armor of denial. Why tell me? He shrugged, stirring sugar into abyss. Because you're the only one who gets it. She played us both, me for the money, you for the soul. Over lattes gone cold. The full scheme unspooled. Willow's not just a grifter, she's a chameleon. Flipping loyalties like pancakes at a diner. Chad admitted he'd known about the trust scam early on, thought it was ambition. Not felony. But the fire cover? That was her ace. Dangled when he threatened to walk. She said you'd never talk. Blood oath or some shit.
Blood.
Always the goddamn blood. We parted uneasy allies. Him with my number 4 updates, me with a flash drive copy of his ledgers, insurance. Because turnabout's fair play. Back in Portland by nightfall. The city hummed with pre-Christmas frenzy, food carts slinging lax and lumpia. Strings of lights battling the perpetual dusk. I wandered Alberta Arts District, galleries glowing like false promises, and ducked into a tattoo parlor on a whim. The flame from my dream. Etched small on my wrist now. A brand of survival. The artist. A queer vet named Jax with sleeves of cherry blossoms and grenades. Chatted ink philosophy. Scars tell stories. But ink? That's the rewrite. Rewrite. Yeah. Willow's response came at midnight. You wouldn't. For mom, but attached. A video. Shaky cam from the airport. My kick looped with her narration overlay. See? Unstable. That's why I had to step in. Blackmail. Digital edition. The rage surged. Hot and holy. And I fired back the will scan. Mom's script looping like a noose. To the daughter who protects. Without expectation. Silence after that. Golden and gaping. Days blurred into a tense detente, her posting festive SF shots. Me silent scrolling from my loft. Plotting the next move. New Year's Eve loomed. That artificial reset button Americans fetishize with champagne toasts and gym vows. I opted out. Solo hike up Forest Park trails. Mud sucking in my boots. evergreens dripping like accusatory fingers. At the summit, cities sprawl below a glittering accusation. I screamed into the wind, raw, guttural, the kind that scares off squirrels and summons therapy bills. Catharsis? Maybe. Or just the echo of a kick yet to land. January hit like a hangover. Resolutions cracking under reality's boot. Chad's divorce filing leaked to TechCrunch. AI mogul dumps wife over financial irregularities, and Willow's empire teetered. Endorsements drying up faster than a martini at happy hour. She called then. Voice cracked porcelain. Aughts.
Help.
The vultures press. Lawyers. It's all unraveling. Help. The word she'd weaponized. Now a plea. I met her halfway. Neutral ground, a Seattle diner off I-5. The kind with vinyl booths and pie under sneeze guards. Ghosts of our trailer days hovering in the Formica gleam. She looked wrecked, hair limp. No makeup mask. That scarf frayed at the edges. I did it for us, she started. The old script. But her eyes? Haunted. Like looking in mom's mirror post-chemo. I slid the flash drive across the table. Your get-out-of-jail-free card. Confess, to the IRS. The DA on the fire. Full truth. No spins. She recoiled. Prison? For a mistake. Mistake. Again. It wasn't a mistake.
Will. It was you.
Choosing you over me. Every time. The waitress hovered.
Kufa puisa.
Sensing the family fracture. Willow signed. Trembling. The pen scratching like claws on chalkboard. Watching her drive off into the drizzle. Taillights blurring to red streaks. I felt the weight lift, not gone, but shifted. Revenge isn't a blaze, it's embers. Warm and warning. Back in Portland, spring teased with crocus shoots, and I landed a gig, real one, branding for a women's shelter. Stories of survival that mirrored my own. Willow turned herself in by tax day. Plea bargain to probation. Community service at a rec center for at-risk kids. Teaching fire safety, her letter read. Irony thick as fog. Irony or karma, she signed off. But the twist lingered. The one that keeps me up with the city's hum. In her confession, she named Mom, not as victim, but co-conspirator. Turns out, Mom covered the initial insurance claim on the fire, fudged dates to bury it deeper, all to keep Willow's future intact. Protecting the protector, her note explained. So who betrayed who?
Me.
For kicking? Willow. For scheming? Or Mom? For the original sin of silence? Family's a web. Sticky and savage. And in America, we romanticize it with turkey and toasts. But peel back, it's all controversy.
No victors.
Summer rolled and sticky. Portland's heat wave turning the streets to steam baths. I took a road trip solo, Route 101. Coastal crawl from Cannon Beach to Cali. Windows down. Salt wind whipping regrets away. Stopped in Tacoma. The old trailer park raised to condos now. Progress paving over pain. Aunt Rita met me at the diner. Same one mom waitress. Her hug bone crush fierce. Proud of you, girl. For standing.
Yeah.
Willow wrote again. Post-probation. Hiking the PCT, finding my fire. The good kind. Miss you. I didn't reply. Not yet. Forgiveness is a choice. Controversial as hell. But mine to make. The kick? It started the chaos. Sure, but the real storm was always inside. Brewing since that first match strike. And, in the end, Maybe that's the American way. Light the fuse, dance in the sparks, and hope the ashes fertilize something green. Fall crept in with its amber haze, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle apologies as I navigated Portland's bike lanes. Helmet askew, mind on the horizon. The shelter gig had bloomed into steady work, campaigns for survivors. Taglines like, "Rise from the ruins," that hit too close, but paid the bills and then some. Even splurged on a Vespa, zipping through traffic with the wind therapy of a therapy bill dodged. Life wasn't fixed, scars don't fade to Instagram filters, but it was mine. Unborrowed. No strings from scheming siblings. Willow's PCT hike stretched into months. Her Insta a trail of dusty boots and summit selfies. Captions cryptic. Burning bridges. Building trails. I followed from afar. Thumb hovering over unfollow. But curiosity's a bitch. Chad vanished into Silicon Valley's churn, rebounding with a start-a-pet half his age. Their yacht picks a middle finger to monogamy. Good riddance.
Me?
Dates flickered, barista with a poetry slam habit, engineer who quoted Vonnegut, but nothing stuck. My trust fund bankrupt in more ways than one. Halloween brought the first crack. A package on my stoop, brown paper crinkled. No return. Inside, Mom's old recipe box. Index cards yellowed with cinnamon ghosts and margin notes in Willow's loopy script. Tucked bottom, a letter, unsealed. Aughts, found this in storage. Read before you judge. Love.
Vous.
Judgment?
Pot. Kettle.
The top card, family gingerbread for the girls who stick together. Mom's hand, steady despite the tremors. Flipped it. P.S. Willow, tell Autumn the truth about the fire insurance. She deserves that much.
Truth.
The word mocked, but I baked anyway. Oven filling the loft with molasses warmth. The dough stubborn under my rolling pin. Truth came in drips after that. Willow off trail by Thanksgiving. Crashing Aunt Rita's for turkey and truces. Rita called. Voice syrup thick. She's changed.
Hun.
Hollowed out. But real. Come home. Home. Tacoma's pull was gravitational. A black hole of nostalgia and nettles. I drove up I-5. Wipers batting rain. The Vespa garaged for winter. The family place, Rita's bungalow. Sagging porch strung with icicle lights, smelled of sage and stuffing. Willow at the table peeling potatoes. Sleeves rolled.
No Scar Farmer.
We didn't hug. Just nodded. Passing the gravy boat like loaded pistols. Rita chattered buffer. Heard you kicked ass on that design award. Autumn. But undercurrent swirled. After pie.
Dishes stacked.
Willow cornered me on the porch. Breath fogging the chill. The insurance, Mom paid off the mill owner. Hush money from her tips. To kill the investigation before it hit you.
Hit me.
Always me. Why not tell? She shrugged. Shoulders sharp under flannel.
Pride.
And fear, you'd hate us both.
Hate.
Close. But not quite.
Pity.
Maybe. Or the dull ache of what-ifs. We talked till frostbite nipped, her PCT epiphanies. The rawness of trail solitude stripping schemes bare, my Portland rebuild. Pixels over people. Safe but solitary. I flipped on you because I couldn't flip on myself, she admitted. Voice small as the kid who'd begged matches that night. The antagonist? That was mirror work. And mirror. Freudian slip or truth bomb. I didn't kick her then, progress. But the urge flickered. Ember to flame. Christmas loomed again. That seasonal sadist with its jingle bell chains. Rita's invite. Full table. No drama. Dramas are default. But I went. Willow too. Tentative truce holding like wet paper. Gifts were practical books for me. Hiking socks for her, but under the tree. Mom's recipe box regifted. Cards divvied. Half mine. Half hers. Share the stickiness, Rita winked. Sticky. Yeah. New Year dawn crisp. Resolutions whispered over mimosa brunches. Willow relocated north, Seattle proper. Remote gig in nonprofit grants. Irony of funding the fallen. The Met Monthly. Coffee clutches at neutral spots. Elliott Bay Book Company. Steam rising from mugs like peace pipes. Conversations skirted edges. Her probation check-ins. My tattoos itch, but deep and slow. Like roots in rocky soil. Ever think about kids? She asked once. Stirring cream into black.
Kids.
The ultimate flip. Legacy without lies. Maybe, I hedged. Adopt a stray project. She laughed. Genuine. The sound cracking old ice. Spring thawed more. A joint trip to the mill site. Now a waterfront park with benches and bike paths. Flames memorialized in a plaque. Industrial accident. Lives changed. We sat. Feet dangling over the sound. Ferries chugging like metal behemoths. I lit it, she said flat. No excuses. Boredom. Bravado. Tinsit. But the cover? That was cowardice. I nodded. Wind tangling our hair, twin-like. And taking the blame? Stupidity. But blood's thick.
Thick.
Constricting, but connective. By summer, the web mended fragile. Barbecues at Rita's. My Vespa parked beside Willow's Subaru. Stories swapped without subtext. Chad resurfaced once. Email plea for closure, but we forwarded it to his lawyer. A united front laugh. Sisters united, Willow quipped. Clinking bottles. United.
Tentative.
Tested. But controversies are shadow. Stretching long. Fall brought the audit. IRS circling Willow's nonprofit. Whispers of irregular grants from her old skim days. She panicked. Called me at 3 a.m. Aughts. It's happening again. Help.
Help.
The echo. I drove down. Not for rescue, but reckoning. At her cramped Capitol Hill walk-up, paper strewn like confetti. We dissected. Innocent overlap. But optics lethal. Fight it, I said.
No handouts.
Earn the clean. She did. Hired a pro bono shark. Testified transparent. Charges dropped as clerical. Victory tasted bittersweet. Her hug fierce but fleeting. Winter whispered warnings. Rita's health dip. A fall on ice cracking hip. Landing her in rehab. We tag-teamed visits. Me from Portland. Willow from Seattle. The old roles reversed, me the rock. Her the worrier. Like Mom. Rita wheezed. Morphine slurred.
Mom.
The ghost in the machine. Her codicil a compass we'd ignored till now. Christmas 2026 hit different, no kicks.
No cuffs. Rita out.
Bungalow decked neutral. Menorah candles beside stockings. Inclusivity American as apple pie. Gifts. Willow's a custom journal. Rewrite your story. Mine from her. A Zippo engraved, light your own. I flipped it open. Flame dancing harmless. Truce, she asked. Eyes searching. Tentative, I echoed. But in the glow, I saw it. No one's pure villain or victim. Betrayal's a cycle. Revenge the wheel turning. The twist? It wasn't ending, it was evolution. Willow proposed a podcast, Sisters in the Ashes, raw tales of fuck-ups and forgiveness. Controversial as hell. Polarizing listeners into Team Kick or Team Cover. I co-hosted tentative. Voices overlapping like old harmonies. Debates raged, forums lit with Autumn's right. Burn It Down versus Willow's growth slays. Us. We laughed off air. Blood-humming harmony. But nights alone. Staring at the flame tat. I wonder, was the kick justice or just impulse? The spare a gift or grenade? In America's funhouse mirror. Family's the ultimate Rorschach. See what you want. Argue the rest. And that's the dark beauty. No closure. Just chapters. Tense and twisting till the last page. The podcast took off like dry tinder. Episodes dropping bi-weekly. The match that started it all. Trust funds and treachery. Our voices raw over lo-fi acoustics. Portland rain pattering in the background for Willow's remote feeds. Listeners ate it up. The controversy catnip. Reddit threads fracturing into camps. Autumn's the hero, Willow's a snake. Clashing with redemption arc goat. Forgive and forget. Sponsors trickled therapy apps. True crime merch. Irony funding our therapy. Rita binged from her armchair. Thumbs up emojis her review. My girls. Unfiltered. Proud. Life layered on. My shelter work scaled to a consultancy. Traveling coasts for survivor summits. Keynotes on reclaiming narratives. Willow's nonprofit bloomed. Grants flowing legit now. Her PCT cred lending wilderness workshops for at-risk youth. Don't light what you can't douse. We overlapped once. A joint panel in Tacoma. Family fires, surviving the burn. Crowd packed the community center. Faces a mosaic of scars seen and unseen. Q&A turned tense. Autumn. Was the kick empowering or just violent? I paused. Mic hot. Both. Like most truths, messy. Necessary. Willow nodded beside. No flip. Just solidarity. But tensions are undercurrent. Bubbling like geothermal vents. Spring 2027. Chad's ghost returned, not him. But his spawn, a countersuit. Alleging defamation from our eps. Willow's confession slandering his brand. Lawyers circled. Bills mounting. Our truce tested in conference calls slick with legalese. Subtle. Willow whispered post-hearing. Eyes shadowed. Or fight.
Fight.
The old reflex. We did, crowdfunded the defense. Fans rallying with Sister Strong tease. The irony of viral victimhood. Case tossed by summer. But the strain lingered. A hairline fracture. Rita's decline accelerated then. Cancer echoing moms. The bungalow a hospice of hushed tones and morphine drips. We rotated vigils. Me reading Vonnegut aloud, so it goes, Willow humming old diner jukebox tunes. Remember the pie fights? She murmured one night.
Rito dozing.
Flower bombs over counter. I smiled faint. You always won better aim. Losses piled. Rita gone by Labor Day. Will simple house split. Recipes to us. Funeral was Tacoma potluck. Eulogies laced with fierce women. Flawed loves. We scattered her ashes at the sound. Waves claiming what wind wouldn't. Grief glued us closer. Or so I thought. Fall brought the flip, subtle. Scheming Willow surfacing in a grant proposal. Our podcast IP bundled into her nonprofit's trauma education arm. Revenue streams rerouted without consult. It's synergy, she emailed. Breezy. Synergy my ass, skimming 2.0. Trust fund redux. Rage reignited. Slow simmer to boil. I confronted over Zoom. Screen splitting our faces like fractured mirrors. Not again.
Will.
Not us. Her denial cracked quick. It's for the greater good. Rita's legacy. Legacy. Weaponized again. The kick this time? Metaphorical. But landed. I pulled from the pod. Domain yanked. Episodes archived private. Fans fractured. Autumn's petty. Versus Willow's at it again. Debate raging hotter than our old flames. She lawyered up. Small claims over shared assets, but I countered with Rita's will clause. To my girls, equally no strings. Standoff stretched. Holidays hollow me solo in Portland. Gingerbread baked from memory. Willow's texts unanswered. Resolution brewed in winter's grip. A mediator. Neutral as Swiss cheese. Unpacking the pod like a crime scene. Truths tumbled. Her fear of fading relevance. My terror of repeat betrayal. We're mirrors, the med said. Reflecting worst fears. We signed a split. Pod revived co-owned. Proceeds 50/50ths. Within no flip clause, therapy mandated check-ins. Truce 2.0. Fragile as eggshell. Spring 2028. We relaunched. Ashes to Allies. Episodes on the second betrayal. Voices steadier. Scars scripted. Listeners forgave. Or forgot. Ratings soared. I dated steady. A barista turned bar owner. His laugh easy. No schemes in sight. Willow. Rumors of a trail guide beau. Flannel and flings. Rita's bungalow sold. Proceeds seeded a scholarship. Whitaker Sisters Fund for kids who cover and those who confess. But the real twist, the debatable dagger, in the attic clear out. A letter from Mom, dated pre-passing, addressed to my flames. Girls, the fire wasn't Willow's alone. I saw you sneak in. Autumn, matches in your pocket. You switched the Zippo. Took the blame to shield her wild heart. My protector. Always. Forgive each other. That's the only debt paid. Switched.
Me?
The instigator? Memory fractured, had I? The puddle. The flick, hers or mine.
Willow swore ignorance. I.
Couldn't recall.
Trauma foxic.
Debate eternal. Was I villain from jump? Or victim of my own rewrite? Willow the follower? Or the first flip? Mom the enabler? Or the sage? In our pod finale cliffhanger. We posed it raw. Who lit the match? Tune in, or decide for yourself. Comments exploded. Polls splitting souls. Autumn started it, hypocrite. Willow manipulated the memory, classic. No closure. Just conversation. The American dream of endless argument. Years on. We're elders in our 40s, me in Portland's lofts. Willow Seattle's trails. Pods evolved to books. TEDx talks on fractured flames. Family? A choice now. Controversial construct. The kick? Mythic. A meme we mine for merch. Happy ending? Tragic? Nah, ongoing. Tense.
Ours.
Light your own. Readers. But mind the wind.